What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for a late night stream. We've just arrived back in London in the last couple of hours.
Yeah.
Got separate routes. Sin, first and foremost, before we get into it, it's your birthday today. Well, what's left of it anyway? A few minutes.
7 minutes.
It has not
Right.
been. You ever had a better birthday than you had this year?
Literally, I haven't slept much today. It's been pretty much a 24-hour birthday. It's been spent, first of all, the beginning bit was partying until early hours of the morning after the win yesterday, which was unbelievable. Met also was with Expressions last night, which had a brilliant night. Da Vinci's just partying. A lot of Tottenham fans there. Had a brilliant evening. Morning, I should say. And then most of the day, obviously, had a bit of a sleep and then off to the airport. And most of the day's literally just been spent consuming as much content as I can about winning, about all the trophy lists.
About to say water.
Water. I probably should spend a bit more time doing that. Haven't really eaten much, but I've just been so excited, just like buzzing about the occasion, and it's just been so overwhelming. Everything has been so overwhelming. I've been just glued to my phone, just watching. I can't stop. This addiction. I need more. Like I can't believe I'm here talking. I need to see Son lift that trophy again. I need to watch it. It just doesn't seem real. It's been an incredible last 24 hours or so. Even though like my plane got delayed and whatever, like doesn't not like. And I would have thought on my actual birthday, which has been delayed, it's been mostly spent traveling, but doesn't matter. I've been literally just watching the after party footage, all the footage of Son on a bus around Bilbao. We'll get into it in the reacts, but watching him lift that trophy over and over again, watching Ange Beast. Oh man, Ange, I love that man. I do not care. I love that fucking man. Watching him with his staff and with his speeches. Levy did it. Oh, it's all great. It's been unbelievable.
Yeah, I actually haven't
parade tomorrow.
Yeah, I actually haven't got to see Ange or Levy's speech yet because on my travels, today, the internet has just been so bad. It's been really annoying. I've literally had basically the trip was left on Monday, got back today. And the days that we were traveling were literally, in terms of traveling, you couldn't get much worse. There were delays on literally every single trip I went on. The French trains are literally the worst run trains in the world. There are delays every time we've been on them. Took ages to get the hire car as well, just waiting around for that. But look, we were there in Bilbao, and I think Spurs and Postecoglou, the team, have delivered us our best Tottenham memory in our lifetime to date. That's literally what it was. From the moment we got into Bilbao till the moment we left, it was just pure bliss, man. The whole trip was just incredible. It really was incredible. And look, we'll start off with the review of the trip and the game and whatever, but I just can't believe I'm sitting here, 22nd of May, Thursday. I'm sitting here as a Europa League champion. I just can't believe it. Like I'm seeing all the footage and I'm like thinking, did that actually happen yesterday?
Yeah, no.
It's still a bit of a blur, and I'm just like, did that actually happen?
You know what? The whole game was a complete blur because it was just. Look, if we're all being honest, the actual game probably was the least
game.
Yeah, there was probably the least enjoyable part of the whole experience was the actual game because it was tough watch. It wasn't great quality, to be honest, from either side. It was nerve-wracking. Obviously, we got the goal celebration was brilliant, but if we're going to start just with the trip, being at the fan park, seeing the sea of white wherever we go, the amount of interactions we had with so many fans, just around, but also especially in the fan park before the game, was unbelievable. Everyone just had this sense of this is our time, this is our year. There was this real belief.
Like when you're coming up to a big game as this was, like usually there's like nerves coming into it and there's like a nervy kind of atmosphere in the build up to it. And I just didn't feel that at all. Like I got a bit nervous, like maybe the very start of the morning of the game and maybe the day before a little bit. But all in all, I felt like really good, and I felt confident, and I felt like this was our time. And I
Yeah.
think that sense with everyone that was there as well, it really did feel like there was just a feeling, wasn't it? I think everyone had that feeling like this was our time, this was our year, this was our moment. And I think with the way that we played away at Frankfurt, the way we played away at Bodo, I think it just gave us a lot of confidence to go into this game against a not a very good Manchester United side. And if we defended well, we'll get the job done. And I think that's exactly what we did on the day. But yeah, I mean, the fan park was just incredible, wasn't it? The drinks were flowing, so many people there. It was just a Tottenham festival, but pretty much that's what
And
it was.
also a big shout, which we'll get into a bit because there's quite a few clips of him probably in Reacts, but shout out to James Black, who was on stage.
He rocked it.
Unbelievable, and he was unbelievable on stage. Obviously, got the whole crowd rocking. He's been obviously we know James Black's been part of the furniture now for many years, and he does such an incredible job. We're so lucky to have someone like him, perform for us. And he got to go party with the players after the game in the after party. So unbelievable for him. Yeah, it's a big up to him on the fan park. But the fan park was popping off. But as I say, it's weird for a club like us, who's obviously gone so long without a trophy, but not only that, had so many near misses, to go through so much pain, to have the belief that we had yesterday going into it was just very odd. I don't know why. I mean, I felt it as well, but it felt like wrong that we had this belief. It was almost like we shouldn't be this confident, especially I was watching a lot of Man United previews, and obviously we spoke to some Man United fans before the game, and they were obviously like, it's Tottenham, lads, it's Tottenham, obviously we're going to win. Like Jamie Carragher before, no chance Tottenham beat Man United in the European final. That's what he said, no chance. So like everyone was dismissing it a lot of the time, even though we'd beaten them 3 times already this season. And to be honest, logically, when you think, I know we're below them in the table, but logically, when you see how the games have gone between them, you see maybe the players that we have, like it shouldn't be that much of a shock that we beat them all. I don't know why Man United went into this game with such confidence, just because of our name, just because of who we are. I think I think they should have taken notice of what's been happening in the cups this season with Newcastle and with Palace, and that's what I was saying. Look at what's happening. Like these teams, it means so much more to these teams, and it makes a difference. I think it did for us as well.
I think the main reason Man United went into it so confident is because even in their worst times, last couple of years, Ten Hag, the year before, they get into these moments where they go in as probably the underdogs against the likes of Man City, and they just have a knack of finding a way to get over the line. They're still Manchester United at the end of the day. So I think that's why they went into it so confident. On top of that, they're playing against us who, haven't won a trophy for 17 years, no European trophy since 1984. So, I mean, that kind of narrative, you would have thought that Man United would have done the job. But I think everything else coming into it, you're looking at the team's routes to the finals. Spurs is the way they've been going into each game with a proper purpose, with a proper game plan, knowing exactly what they're going to do on the pitch and implementing it perfectly. I just felt like when you saw the players come out onto the pitch, when you saw them in that huddle, they just had, it was up there. It was the mentality to go on and win that game. And I was so certain that we were going to win the game. I really was. I think most people were as well.
Yeah, 100%. I knew we were the better team, and I knew when we got that back 5 together. People look at results in the league and all these different things, but the reality is, when we've had that back 5 together of late, we've defended really well. Like there's not been many games where we've been too open or concede loads of chances. I think now, after clean sheet, I think it's now with that back 5 this season. I think it's 16 games played, 15 goals conceded. So clearly, when we have that back 5 together, we can defend, and we're not that actually hard to open up, and we're not that hard to score against. Not easy, sorry, to score against. So I was confident. Also, looking at their front line, Højlund, I was never worried about him doing anything. Like I know Diallo's obviously come back from injury; he's obviously a good player, but I just knew with our back line, like there's a good chance that we're going to be able to keep them at arm's length. And it's all about.
There were moments in the game though, weren't there, where Ahmad was giving us problems out on the wing.
He
was giving us problems as well. But that was like kind of the only outlet they had. Like Bruno Fernandes, did he even play?
Yeah, I know. It was completely anonymous, wasn't he? And in terms of what you were saying, like this is what we were saying going into this game. Like if you look at how we've been playing, like it's so much more controlled, so much more like precise, like in this Europa League run, like very much like a proper team. Like obviously we've been for a lot of the season. We've been all over the place, obviously with injuries and even tactically, like for a lot of different games, we've been a bit all over the place, so open, not maybe players not knowing what we're doing. But I've really felt like as soon as you got those players back, I do think, especially in this Europa League, like you can really see that they are a team and they can what's called Ange can get them together and get a really good tactical performance. And in this Europa League run, when we've had to attack like home to Frankfurt, Bodo at home, we've attacked really well. We've had to defend like Bodo and Frankfurt away. We've defended very well and attack as well. What's called RZ at home, we attacked very well in that game as well. So we've had to do certain things. We've done them really to a really good level. And we were saying this before. When you look at Man United, yes, don't get me wrong, 7-1 against Bilbao, fair play, and they also got through against Lyon. But you never felt like they were really in control of any of those situations. Didn't really tell the full story, especially those Bilbao games. I know they won 7-1, but it didn't tell the full story of how those games went at all. And if you're paying attention to the context of those games, it wasn't a foregone conclusion. They just battered them and they were far the better team. It wasn't like that at all. And I know that 7-1 suggests that, but it wasn't. So going to that game, I knew that maybe that the gap of the win against Bilbao might give them a bit more false confidence, like of how good they actually were in that tie. And I think, and I just knew, like, also I said as well, I said it, I think, as soon as he came back from injury, the one guy I think, if there's anyone going to drag us his trophy, and it's going to be so important to his trophy, it's going to be Romero. I think Romero is so important. And he's every tie, the whole Europa League campaign, I don't think he's put a foot wrong since he's come back from injury. Premier League, not so much, but Europa League, I don't think he's put a foot wrong. And when it comes to a final, this guy is unbelievable in finals. He's incredible. This guy, this mentality in a final, he always shows up. He always has an unbelievable performance. He's always the best defender on the park. And I think it was probably the same again yesterday.
Forget best defender, best player on the park. Best player on the park. You know, he's been incredible. Look at that. Remember that World Cup final with Argentina, how good he was that day. Oh my days.
He's brilliant.
And I thought he was the best player on the park probably on yesterday as well. I really did. But there were some top performers out there from Tottenham from a defensive standpoint. Let's be real. We had no ambitions to attack really for the majority of the game. Once we got that goal, you know, it kind of like both teams feeling each other out. Man United were controlling the possession a little bit. No real big chances either end. Once we got that goal, all it was just about hanging in there, getting deeper, more anxiety. I mean, that whole second half, we're looking at the clock every 2 minutes. Literally, that's all it was. I think I looked at the clock more than I looked at the pitch in that second half.
Honestly,
like, literally, it was stressing me the hell out.
It was, you know what? It was stressful. And obviously, the first half, you know, I think first half, we obviously had a few moments in which Brennan was getting the better of Shaw on a few occasions, but then Diallo was getting the better of Dogu on a few occasions. It was kind of like give and take for both teams. But I think what we were doing actually in the first half was tactically isolating Bruno, pressing him on a few occasions, making sure he wasn't having so much of an influence. Because I think he's been so important in their Europa League run. Bruno, he's probably been their main player in this run, and he's, you know, you've seen his numbers. His numbers are ridiculous, and I think you know, obviously we didn't talk obviously the lineup when we saw the lineup that we weren't too happy about it, but I think it turned to probably be a good choice putting the Sarr in there in the middle with Bentancur and
I thought Sarr was brilliant.
Yeah,
I thought Sarr was brilliant. The legs that he showed us in midfield, the never say die attitude. You know what we say with Sarr, you know, last season, particularly covering every blade of grass. That's exactly what he did on the pitch yesterday. Like, he played like that was his last game, you know, forever. Like literally, he had something special about him on in the final, Sarr. And I felt him, Bissouma, and Bentancur all just had that mentality, like nothing is getting past us today.
Yeah, and I think that was where we were getting a lot of joy, which is, funny enough, probably where you would say is probably on the day lineup wise, maybe one of the weaker points in the team. But I think the midfield is where we were doing really good things. I think, like, good pressing. Obviously, the goal came from a really good interception from Sarr off Bruno. That I thought they were pressing quite effectively. We were whipping really good crosses into the box. I thought for time for Richarlison, Porro whipped in a good ball. I think a doggy was getting crosses. There was clearly a plan to whip crosses in, which is what we were saying before the game, which has to be the plan, to get as many crosses in the box, because that's where you can really get that Man United. And obviously that's where the goal comes from. Sarr whips it in, which starts all from his inception. Then we kind of maneuver the ball to get him some space on the left. He then whips it into Brennan. And he, if there's someone you need to get a tap
clinical,
in,
mate, absolutely clinical finish.
You know what? Yeah, I thought on the first viewing when I saw it live, I couldn't really see if it was him or own goal, whatever. I then saw the replay. I was like, okay, that's definitely an own goal, because it comes off Shaw's hand and then looks like it goes directly in. They have given it to Johnson. I've seen it again, and I now think that he gets a little touch just after Shaw hits it. After Shaw hits, he literally, I think it's like the most minuscule touch, but I think he does touch it. And obviously that forces it in just over the line. Scrappy goal, but look, it is scrappy, but it's also like, it's not luck. It's a bit of luck that it falls for sure, but it's not luck how that all came about, because it's all from Brennan with that running. It's all from Sarr looking for that early cross. It's all part of that, the plan we went into the game with, and that's how we
create the chaos. You create the chaos, and you get the rewards. And I think Brennan Johnson, he's been doing that kind of stuff and those kind of runs all season. You know what I mean? And this is what we've been saying about Brennan Johnson. This is why he's so important to start in a game of this magnitude and in a game in a final, because even if he doesn't impact things, which look, I think he probably impacted more than he has done in the majority of games this season with the way he was attacking on that right hand side. But if you can get yourself in the right position, you can put the ball in the back of the net. You need to play in a final, and he's sitting here as a Europa League winning goal now in a final. And the narrative around Brennan Johnson is still like, oh, he's had a bad season. Look at the amount of goals he's scored. 18. Never mind how much he's impacting games. Look at the amount of goals he scored. But not only just the amount of goals, look at the important goals he scored as well. He scored the first one at Bodo in the semi-final. He scored the winning goal in the final as well. I mean, this guy is stepping up on the big occasions. When are we going to start talking about Brennan Johnson being a big game player?
Well, if he scored the winner of the final, is he now a legend?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, like, I don't know if you call Lucas Moura a legend or not, but he's always going to have that cult hero status after that Ajax game. Like, Johnson,
that's not even bringing home a trophy.
Yeah,
this is bringing home a trophy.
Exactly. So Johnson's got to be there now.
You look at it. You look back to 84, right? We all go Tony Parks as a legend. If Tony Parks is a legend, why is Brennan Johnson not a legend?
Absolutely. And I think he's obviously it's not like it's a one-off as well, as you're saying. Like, he's scored goals regularly, and a lot of them. Like Lucas, you could kind of say he was a good player for us. Don't get me wrong, that was kind of like a one-off game. But like Brennan, that is what he does for us. Is what he's been doing the whole season consistently, and it's what he's very good at. And as much as he's maybe not the prettiest, and some of his goals aren't the prettiest, they're effective. And that's what I've always said about him. He ain't the best winger. He's clearly a limited player, but what he is, he's an effective player. He gets into places. He's very good at positioning himself in those places. And he got there, again, positioned himself exactly where he needed to be. I'm sure he's trained that kind of run many times. And he was there to get on the end of it, and bam, 1-0. And obviously we went into halftime at Bedlam, but when we came out in that second half, it was just, you can clearly see, like,
get the ball away from our goal.
Literally, just batter it away. I mean, it's.
There was no composure whatsoever.
No, there was no composure. No, that we didn't break away. I think there was one breakaway the whole half. Two. There was two. There was one where Doggy broke away on the left-hand side and tried to find Solanke, and there was one actually Solanke did quite well down the byline. I think he spun Maguire, and then he tried to play Son in, and I think he played it just too far ahead of him. But they didn't even lead to shots. Like, that's what we're talking about. Like, just two kind of breakaways. But it was literally, I said it. We said it in the instant match reaction. Well, not quite instant, but the match reaction. We literally treated that from minute 46. It was like it was the 90th minute, literally from minute 46.
90th minute for 52 minutes or whatever.
Exactly. That's what it was. It was literally 45 plus 45. That's what it looked like. 45 minutes of injury time. But as much as it was just batter it away and hope for the best at times, that's what it looked like at times. There was, I thought, some quite smart tactical stuff from Ange in that half. Which I think got us over the line and made sure we didn't concede him. Because there were times, as you say, when Garnacho came on, he was getting some joy. So, and you saw Brennan was waning a bit. You saw there was one moment he was like going for a run, he just couldn't keep up. So, I think most managers probably would have done at that point is bring on Odebear or Tell and put them on the right. But he decides to put Sarr on the right hand side, which I thought was a really smart move. It kind of cut off that made sure Garnacho wasn't getting more joy, and he made sure that because he knew Sarr's got the legs, Sarr can keep up, and he's got a bit more defensive kind of mindset about him. So I thought he put him on the right side. That was a good move, and then. Obviously Maguire starts like getting up front, winning headers and doing all that kind of stuff like he does late. So then he had Danso on, and then he brought Danso on. I thought that was a really good move as well. And Danso was winning some good headers. I thought that back three really kind of made us a lot more solid and a lot more difficult to break down. And it was like we did really park the bus, if we're being honest. It was definitely part of the bus job. But look, I don't really care. And if that's what the occasion demanded and that's what the occasion needed, as famous Mourinho said, finals aren't there to be played; they're there to be won. And
exactly.
Look, Ange, I think maybe understood that on the day, and he's maybe understood that during this whole Europa League run. And
they're saying we didn't play Ange ball yesterday; we played Ange bus. That's what we did.
Bus, exactly. You get the Ange. He's got a bus now. Come on. But obviously there were a few scary moments, weren't there?
Of course, but everything, like you mentioned before, like anything that Amorim tried to change from a tactical perspective and edge the game in their favor, Ange always had the answer, and that's the reality. I think, like when you're talking about a tactical battle, I think Ange did win that, hands down, in my opinion. And you're looking at the players on the pitch, right? We can get onto Ange in a little bit, but the players on the pitch, man, they all performed like heroes. When you look at Vicario, that save that he made right at the end, man, what a top quality save. Saved the game for us. Mickey van de Ven with that goal saving clearance on the line. I mean, like, come on, like, where did he pull that one from?
Doing
like
Kung Fu van de Ven.
It's madness. Like Romero, the hero's performance he put in. Porro put something out on social media afterwards, like taking the piss out of people saying he can't defend. I mean, I thought he put in a top defensive display. Pedro Porro. Destiny Udogie, again, on the other side, I thought he was a hero. Bissouma, Sarr, Bentancur, all three of them, absolute heroes. Solanke was running his socks off all bloody night. Richarlison as well. I mean, these guys were just performing out of their socks. But you know who I'm most happy for? And that's the boy, Sonny, man. At the end of that final whistle, man, you saw Sonny, what it meant to him. And it just felt like it meant so much more to him than anyone else. I won't say in the stadium because the fans were just on a different level, on a different planet. But in terms of the playing staff, you could just see, like, look, these other guys have been here 2 minutes, haven't they? And Sonny's been here 10 years. And he stated many a time, or he stated before, that he doesn't consider himself a club legend until he wins something. He said that, he stayed here because he wants to win that trophy with Tottenham Hotspur. He's finally done it.
He has, and I can't quite believe it. It's like, it seems like there was going to be something that was never going to happen. It was just going to be a pipe dream. You've seen AI images of Son holding up that trophy, and you kind of feel
FIFA or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, is it ever actually going to happen? And yesterday, it actually came true, and you saw the images. I've seen it, and now of Maddison in tears hugging Sonny, and I don't know what he's saying to him, but clearly get very emotional. And as you say, some of these guys have just come here. Like Maddison's been here 2 years, and he's crying for Son. He's like, I don't think he's crying for himself. Obviously, I'm sure he's happy he's got a Europa League trophy. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he'd be that emotional if it wasn't for what it meant to Son. I think that's what brought, and so I think everyone really gets how much that meant to him. And for a player of Son's quality to not have a trophy at this point of his career is, quite frankly, it's a disgrace he hasn't had one. But, he said he's committed his future here because he wanted to, as he said, finish the jigsaw puzzle, get that final piece in, and it's to win that trophy for us. And look, it might be his last game for us. I hope not. We'll talk about his future in another time. But I'm just so happy that we can put that to bed. He's won not just a trophy, he's won a major European trophy at this club. He's got reward for his unbelievable loyalty. He's been such an amazing player for us, a servant, an ambassador, a representative. Everyone was, even non-Tottenham fans were just happy for him. Everyone knows how much it meant to Son winning that trophy. You just see the passion yesterday. I saw, and you can see as well, in the after party and on that bus ride through Bilbao. He's letting his hair down. He's so happy. He's got that smile back, and it's so great. All that Sonny content has just been unbelievable.
Saw his dad come on the pitch after the game as well.
Dad come on the pitch. It's just you saw him after the game. Also like waving, I think, to his family who were there, and such a special moment for him. And apparently he said in the interview with TNT after the game, he said what he said to Harry. He said, "Harry, we did it. So it's like something they've been feeling together. I think him and Harry Kane, they both broke the trophy drought in the same year. Poetic as that is, and what a special moment. What a special moment. Sonny lifting that trophy, and when he actually lifted it, he got handed it, and I just couldn't believe he was actually gonna lift that trophy in front of the fans, in front of the Spurs fans right there. Like, it was real. And there it was. The confetti was there. He actually was lifting it, and it was special.
Yeah, it was just such an emotional day, wasn't it? I just didn't know, like, even how to act at full time. Like, I was just sitting there, just in complete shock. Like, what have I just witnessed? Spurs won a bloody trophy.
In terms of the fans as well, I want to say, like, that second half, we mentioned, like, Tottenham were playing like it was 90 minutes to 45, which is true. But I have to say the fans as well, like, a lot of the times when it gets like that, when it's basically it was kind of backs against the wall a bit for that second half, and we were under the caution. We weren't really offering anything attacking. It might be easy to kind of get a bit anxiety. Maybe the crowd gets a bit quiet because they're just waiting for it to go wrong. But we treated, it was like every tackle was celebrated like a goal, every block, everything. And I think that's what kept the players going and on it. And obviously, I'm sure, in a final, I'd like to think it would have been concentrated anyway. But I think how the fans were, especially, a bit disappointing, in the coin flip, they switched sides. So they were attacking our end of the first half, and maybe it helped us because with the fans behind the Vicario for that second half, celebrating like every block, every header away from minute 46, like we were celebrating it and we were geeing it on. It was like we were celebrating it as much as we were celebrating a chance being created or a shot on goal.
They did score in front of us though as well. They
did score, yeah. Obviously, they did score in front of us, which was great, which is unbelievable. I'm saying, but maybe it helped. Actually, maybe it helped us that the Tottenham fans.
I get what you're saying.
I think that was probably a positive in the end. That the fans were behind the defense.
The fans were just incredible. Like, have you witnessed a better atmosphere than that? Like that pre-game atmosphere in the concourse there, like.
Incredible.
It was going on for like an hour and a half, just straight bang, bang, bang.
The straight scenes, the straight limbs.
Mad. If you see it in the vlog, that's just only like a fraction of what was actually going on there. It was madness. It was madness.
Everyone
and the atmosphere in the fan park, all the way to the ground, and then inside the bowl as well when the game kicked off. I mean, mate, the atmosphere was just incredible. I think, like, I always go on about City away and Arsenal 3-2 and these kind of games, 2008 being there at Wembley as well. But I think this one was the best by far. I really do.
Yeah, and look, the kind of not silver lining, but the positive about waiting 17 years for a trophy is how special it will feel when you do win one. And you have to say it felt so unbelievably special. Like so much joy. You walk in, you're just looking around, and there's grown men in tears. Everyone's just flooded with tears. Everyone's just so emotional. Everyone just can't believe what they're witnessing. They're finally going to see it in their lifetime. Tottenham winning a major European trophy, the first one for 40 years, and that pit after, obviously, the final whistle went. The kind of amount of elation and joy that just broke up everyone. That you saw the bench was ready to explode before the final whistle happened, and obviously when it happened, it
was all about that corner right at the end.
Yeah, oh my god, you just thought, oh god, is it going to happen? But it went wide. You knew as soon as it went out for a goal kick, that was it. That it was gonna be our time. And that was fantastic. But how special that bit is. Kind of between winning it and then the trophy celebration, and then after the trophy, but when the players are coming over to the fans, it's like one big party together. Everyone's celebrating together. Everyone's getting their own song, and the managers getting songs, and Basuma's geeing up, like whatever. Richarlison's jumping into the crowd, playing the drums. Like all these different things are going on. like that feeling, like not much beats that in football. If anything, like that is the most amazing thing. Nothing beats that. Like
Nothing
it's
beats
most
it.
amazing. Knowing you've achieved it, you've won it, and no one can take that away from you. That's it. Like all these other games and stuff, like Frankfurt and Bodo. Like I'm sure the atmosphere was great, but still not the job's not fun done. You know what I mean? It's great to win and you celebrate, but it doesn't mean anything unless you keep going through the rounds. But once you've actually hit that, which I've never really seen, like from in my lifetime. I know we were there in 2008, but like in terms of like a major European trophy, being abroad and all that kind of stuff, like it was just amazing that part, and just like there was so much I wanted to capture, like of everything, like with the players and the fans, and just the whole moment was just surreal. I want to relive that. I need that again. Honestly, we need that again. And obviously we've got the parade coming up. That's going to be a special day tomorrow. But that feeling, honestly, of watching your team and the fans celebrating in tandem, having won that, achieved it, kind of feels like you've done it together, because we have done it together, and it's brilliant.
It's been such a long time coming, and it's been such a hard season and a hard slog to get through. All the near misses in the last 5 years, going to the Champions League final, last 4 finals before this final, not scoring a goal and just petering out and whatever. Like all the near misses, all the Spursy moments that we've had to live through over the past 20, 25 years, however long it's been. It's all kind of culminated in this very moment in Bilbao, and it just like you just saw how much the fans were just so bang up for it. And you see the contrast between the Spurs and the Man United fans as well. Like obviously Man United fans, they've been there, they've seen it all, they've done it all, they've won every competition there is to win multiple times. And the majority of the fans that were there yesterday probably would have seen it with their very own eyes. And I just felt like the mentality of the Man United fans and the mentality of the Spurs fans were completely different. Like Man United were treating it just like, it's just another cup final. That we're in cup finals every year, you know what I mean? Where Spurs, like, this was everything to Tottenham, wasn't it? And
it was.
In my opinion, from what I saw anyway, from where I was in Bilbao, it just felt like there were so many more Spurs fans out there than Man United fans, and which is crazy to me because Man United have such a bigger fan base and they got such a big following everywhere they go. But you cast your mind to 2019, Liverpool fans were everywhere, and it was much, they outnumbered us like 5-1 at that point. But I felt like we outnumbered the United fans out in Bilbao, and it was quite something. It was like a Tottenham wonderland out in Bilbao.
It really was. Yeah, we were definitely, look, as you said, it meant more to us. It obviously did. You can see the players, it meant more to them on the day. We were just never going to let anything get past us in that second half. Like you can see the way that mentality shifted. Like we are not letting this go. We've got this goal, and we don't care what's going to happen, what's being thrown at us. We ain't letting that go, and you can see how much it meant to them. But in terms of the fans, for sure, you can see that. Obviously, reportedly anyway, there was like 30,000 or so Tottenham fans in Bilbao compared to like I don't know how many United fans, maybe 20 or 15, maybe. I think it was like a lot less. We even know just for facts, we've got a parade planned and stuff that United we had a barbecue planned, or they weren't going to have a parade. Like that just goes to show how much it means to us compared to them. Like this was everything. This trophy, like I don't think anyone. What's funny? We've won this trophy. I don't think one person I've seen, one tweet has mentioned that we're playing Champions League football next season. You know what I mean? It's not about that at all.
Spurs have mentioned it. Don't you worry about that.
Okay, I'm sure Spurs. I'm saying like all fans and whatever.
They're already starting selling premium packages to the Champions League.
You bet. But like, I'm talking about like as fans, I've just not seen. That's not entered our minds. I haven't even thought about the fact we're going to be playing Champions League football next season. It's just not about that. It's about breaking that duck, winning that trophy. Getting that hoodoo up our back and doing something special for this football club. And it was interesting hearing Ange after the game. Look, it might be bullshit what he's saying. It might be revisionism, but he's saying, everything I've done, especially since like January, has been geared towards getting this trophy over the line. Because he just like feels how important it would be for this club and all the selection. And yes, they've suffered in the league for it, but he just knew that getting that trophy would mean so much more than anything else for this football club. And he said, look, I could be sitting here third. I mean, obviously you have to do a lot better than we have to do that. But he said he could be sitting here third this season without a trophy. But what would really change at this football club? What would not, like, obviously we, the good league position, don't get me wrong, and we'll be pretty content with it. But would anything, in terms of how we feel about the club or anything, would anything really change? when there was anything substantial change. But this trophy is something that we were all so desperate for and also desperately needed. And to get over line to win it, it's just so special.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree to a certain extent, and I agree to him that, the trophy means much more than anything else that he could have achieved this season, 100%. But on the other side of that, you still need to show progression in the league as well, don't you? That's the true barometer of where you're at as a team. And I'm conflicted a bit with it because obviously you can't tell me otherwise. That was the best Spurs night and Spurs memory that I've got in my lifetime, seeing what I saw last night out in Bilbao. But you still got to keep up standards in the league. You know what I mean? You can't just drop all standards.
In a perfect world, yeah, but I think in kind of how the season went for us, I think I think Amorim chose to try and kind of keep playing his first team and everything. Well, he didn't really prioritize the Europa League. That's not why they did badly in the league, I would say. At a certain stage, anyway. They were badly in the league because they weren't good enough. I guess at least Ange has that excuse in his back pocket that the reason why the league, especially the last couple of months anyway, was so bad is because he was very clearly prioritizing the Europa League. And I think that's absolutely clear. But still, I agree. It's not something that the league form has been atrocious, and it's not something I think we going forward will be acceptable for sure. But we also have to understand, which he's admitted as well. He said this is a starting block. The belief, I think, that this win, winning a trophy will give to the players, the young players. You got to remember how many of these players now are going to be in their first Champions League campaign the next season. That's how young these players are. You know what I mean? These are not experienced. A lot of them are not experienced.
Yeah.
Maddison, has he been Champions League with Leicester? I don't think so.
Did he not play Champions League with Leicester? Did they not sign him when they got into the Champions League?
No, it was a bit after.
The year after that.
He's played Europa League with them, but I don't think he ever played Champions League. So, apart from Son and Ben Davis and Bentancur, can't think of too many other players who played Champions League.
Romero's played Champions League with us.
Romero's played, a few games, yeah.
Romero got sent off against Milan, didn't he?
But I'm saying most of that team won. So again, it's like going to be another new experience. But that's we got to be on that path. But I think the belief and the togetherness that trophy win will give the team, and also give the confidence these younger players who are just starting out their careers, a lot of them right at the beginning, and they're going to be they've got a trophy under their belt right at the beginning. They're not going to be like Son at 32 without a trophy. A lot of them are going to be already at 22 with a trophy. That's going to give that belief, and I just really think that's, for me, something we got to hang on to.
Yeah, look, it depends on how long they are going to hang on to it. Right now, Postecoglou is an absolute hero. Right now, everyone's known my opinion on Postecoglou all season. I'm not going to sit here now, the day after winning the trophy and call for his head and say he needs to go. I do believe that he will be here at the start of next season now after winning that trophy. I can't see a world in which Daniel Levy sacks him. I just can't. Like, how after what we all went through in the last 24 hours, how can you sack the manager that's just delivered our first European trophy since 1984? You just can't do that. It's just impossible.
And you can see how clearly how much the players love him. You really can see that after. I know any manager, I guess, that wins a trophy, the players are going to be jumping all over him. But having that banner, I always win in my set. I don't usually win. I always win. Like, the players are the ones who brought that out. You know what I mean? Like Porro's jumping on his back. Like, you can see. I don't know if you saw. There's a video during the trophy celebration, and just like kind of letting the players have their moment, but they made sure to bring him in.
They made sure he goes in the middle.
They made sure they come in. Like, it's
brilliant.
So lovely.
It's brilliant. And look,
the speech he gave after as well, amazing. Yeah. He's such a great talker. And I was saying before as well, apparently, and you heard what he did before the game. Like I said, if there's one guy who could do a great speech or do something to get these players motivated and to make sure to go over the line, it's probably Ange. He's probably that one guy who can do that. And apparently, before the game, he in secret created a video with all the family of all the players to give them a message to get them motivated for this game, for final. And apparently that made a massive, effect on the players before the game. And he's just so great at all this kind of stuff. The speeches I've seen in other jobs, sends a shiver down my spine, gives me goosebumps watching it. And, knowing that he's doing that for our club is fantastic.
Yeah, I do fear. I mean, look, I really do want Ange to succeed, no matter what. Like, my opinion's been on him all season. Like, I still want him to succeed, and I can't thank him enough for what he's delivered to this football club with the Europa League yesterday. I really can't. But I do fear that if we do have a slow start to the season or a bad start to the season, let's say, then it could be a bad moment for him.
Yeah, that's with any manager who's not had a good end to the season, whatever, or not had a good season, and if you decide to stick with him and then they have a bad start, that happens. And there was a fear it could have happened this season as well, because he didn't have a good end to last season and then he had a bad start.
Yeah, but if he wasn't in the Europa League, let's be honest, he would have been sacked.
Yeah, but he won the Europa League, and fair and square.
Of course, and that's why he's going to go down as a legend and a European trophy winning manager.
Yeah, and he's saying we need to kick on. He feels like the job's not done. He's said after the game, we need more experience in this team. He's admitted that we need to get some more like ready-made quality in there. And I think if we can do that, I really think we can go places. We know we've got the basis of a really good team. I think we know that. We've got. I think that back five. I know we'll have to wait and see what's going on with Romero, whether that's his last game or not. But we've got that back five that's there. We've got some good midfielders that maybe we know maybe need an addition there.
Listen, if Romero leaves, that sets us back massively.
Yeah, probably. But what can we do? We have to deal with it. We'll have to see what happens in the summer.
But anyway, we'll get into the summer in the summer, but it's just such a historic day yesterday. Like, I'm just still so buzzing over it, and I still hasn't sunk in like properly. When we're there tomorrow, exactly, when we're there on the parade tomorrow, it's all gonna, I think, maybe start to feel a bit more real. Like now, like we've just got back from Spain. We're looking back to the last 24 hours. It's all a bit of a blur. Like, did that actually happen? I don't know. Like, it's just madness. We're just not used to this as Tottenham fans. But what I want to talk about is these salty gooners that are doing the rounds at the moment. I cannot believe how salty these lot are being at this moment in time. It's madness. They're trying to diminish the trophy. They're saying, oh, but it doesn't mean anything because who did you beat? And this competition don't mean anything anymore because there's no Champions League dropouts. Oh, it's a tin pot trophy and all this. I didn't hear them saying that when they were trying to win it a couple years back. You know what I mean? Like, this whole thing.
They had a parade planned
for the Europa League
when they were in the final. Yeah.
Of course they did, mate. They're shameless. These Arsenal fans are so shameless. It's unbelievable. They can't take it. They just cannot take it that Tottenham Hotspur have more of a European pedigree than the mighty Arsenal. The mighty Arsenal that can't win a European trophy while we're sitting here with 3 UEFA Cup Europa Leagues to our name. That is what you call European pedigree, people. You know, you look up at the teams that have won in Europe. You don't see Arsenal anywhere. They don't show up. I mean, I've been looking for them for so long, even in the terms and conditions in the small fine print. I just can't see them anywhere. I don't know where they are. But when you see Tottenham, you look for Tottenham and you look for the teams that have won the UEFA and Europa League the most out of anyone. We're sitting there in second. Only one team have won this tournament more than us, and that's Sevilla. So that is what you call European pedigree.
100%. And they can't turn up their noses to a competition they never won. They don't won any European competition. So who are they to say they're too good for this competition? Who do they think they are? Why? Because right now they're doing well. They got nothing to show for it. Yes, a few years ago, we were also quite a good team, but we had nothing to show for it as well when it came to major trophies. And
what did they say to us then?
And they had some FA Cups, and they would say, in our era, we still won trophies over you. Well, right now, in your golden Arteta era, we've won more trophies than you. We're 17th. That's the barefaced facts of the matter, right? We're in the gutter all season. We've won more trophies than them. Over the last 5 years now. 5 years, we've won more trophies than them. So, and when it comes to European trophies, they have no European success. They have no European pedigree. They've won the Cup Winners' Cup once, I think, which we've won anyway. And we've got 3 Europa Leagues. which they have never won. They've never won the Champions League. They've never won a major. Have never won a European trophy that currently exists. They haven't won one.
Winners' Cup. That's all they've won.
They have no that currently exists.
The Interfairs, whatever it was called.
Haven't won one that currently is in existence. That's still around. They haven't won one. So for them to think they can turn their noses up at Tottenham winning them, which is, by the way, you could probably say the third biggest trophy on offer right now that you could probably win after Premier League and Champions League for English clubs. Yeah. Just to think that they can just turn their nose up and say, "Oh, we're too good for that competition. Oh, I don't really care about them winning that competition. It's not something I would want to win anyway. I don't even want to be in it." Well, what did you do when you were in the Europa League? Did you ever win it? You went up to Olympiacos. You went out to Lisbon. You went out to all the. They were in the Europa League for like 7 years. But when we were, they were out of the Champions League for a long time. They didn't win it. They never got over the line.
And when they did get to the final, they saw what happened. They saw what happened. They shut the bed and Giroud wiped them off the park.
Exactly. So for them to say, "Oh, it's so easy. It's such a rubbish competition." It's absolute nonsense. Now we're saying, "Oh, you're only winning it because there's the teams are so bad." First of all, you can only play who's in front of you, so I don't really care about it. And second of all, there's been a lot of good teams in this competition. Just because they haven't gone on to win it, you've got teams who are going to be playing Champions League in Italy, in fourth in La Liga. You've got fourth and fifth in Liga who are in this competition who got knocked out in what's called in Serie A, but third in Bundesliga who currently got knocked out. We knocked out this competition. So teams who are going to be playing qualify for Champions League in the top 5 divisions have all been in this competition. This is Europa League. I don't know what you expect. You expect it to be full of league champions. Obviously, we know it's the second competition, not Champions League. There's still a lot of very good teams who are obviously good, going to finish in the Champions League spaces in their respective leagues, and they haven't been able to win this competition. We've had to go a long way and played some very good teams and beat some very good teams to go this far. And this is a major European competition. They just can't get it through their thick heads, or they don't want to believe it. I think it's more denial, the fact that we've actually got a major European trophy through the door and extended our lead of European trophies ahead of them, and the fact they're going to be sitting here trophyless yet again after bottling all the competition they've been in this season. So for me, the more saltiness I see, the better. The more I see Arsenal fans tweeting how they don't care that we've won it, means how much they do care. Because if you didn't care, you wouldn't be tweeting. You wouldn't be tweeting if you didn't care. You wouldn't be tweeting. If I didn't care about something, if there's
5 years,
if there's something I didn't, if there's something I don't care about, I just don't. I take notice of it. I don't tweet about it. I don't write about it. If I say I don't care about you, I'm literally telling everyone I care about you because I'm tweeting it. Because I'm saying to people, you are there on my mind. I'm thinking about it.
5 years, how can I think about it? That's all they've been bantering us for the last 17 years. You never win trophies. You never win trophies. You never win trophies. We literally won a trophy yesterday. Arsenal haven't won a trophy for 5 years. And this is supposed to be, like you said, golden generation, Mikel Arteta process, phase number what? What is this? Phase number 4, 5, 6, whatever phase they're in. They still can't win a trophy.
Exactly. And you know what as well? Arteta as well. I want to say about Arteta. A few last week, he's going on this big diatribe in an interview saying, "Oh, other teams have injuries and they're 16th and they're 17th. Look what we've done. It's a miraculous of what we've done. It's amazing." And then he's asked today, "Well, Tottenham won a trophy, have they had a better season than you?" And he said, I don't like to compare other teams. I don't like to now you don't like to compare. Now we've got a European trophy. You don't like to compare. Or a week ago, you're going mad about, now you're comparing to other teams with the problems you've had. You're more than happy comparing that. But as soon as you're comparing trophies, you don't like to compare. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, everyone knows this is a very significant moment for Tottenham Hotspur. This is a significant trophy to win. It's a big, big trophy. Not in size, but in stature, everything about it. It's an incredible thing for Tottenham Hotspur to go out and do the job like they did yesterday and bring home that trophy. So it's time just to bask in the glory for a little bit. It's not very often that you can hear us really, truly ring out glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. My eyes have seen the glory of the cups at White Hart Lane. That's literally what we've seen yesterday.
Honestly. And just adding another trophy to the camera. And all of a sudden, it's so funny. The narrative just flips now because obviously the whole joke of Tottenham being trophyless and all that kind of stuff, which is fair with all the lack of trophies we've had over the recent history. But all of a sudden we now got that trophy, and all of a sudden, we people can see us as now the 6th most trophy wins in the league again. Like we're now like a team that's got trophies in our history, one of the most trophies in England, and people can stop talking about us being trophyless because we've got that recent. We've got a trophy, major European trophy. I think in terms of European trophies, where are we? I think this was Liverpool, United, and Chelsea. So we're 4th.
European trophies. So we've got. I mean, if you want to count other cups as well, like cup winners, I think we're on 4. But Man City are not ahead of us. Yeah, it's got to be those 3 clubs only.
Yeah, so we're 4th for European trophy.
I don't know what about like clubs like Villa.
I think Villa have 2, but they're obviously champion. They're European cups, obviously. But yeah, I think in terms of European trophies, I think we're 4th, in that like thing. So like, maybe people can start giving us some respect in terms of how many trophies we have actually got in our history, instead of continually hammering us over the head about how.
It depends what you consider as a European trophy, because if you consider like Cup Winners' Cup, Super Cup, then Man City are level with us now.
Okay, so we're joined 4th.
Because we've got 3 with the UEFA Cup and Cup Winners' Cup, so we've got 4. Then Man United on 8, Chelsea on 9, Liverpool on 14, and then there's a few teams on 3: West Ham, Villa, and Forest. But with West Ham, one of them is the Intertoto Cup. Like, surely we're not counting the Intertoto Cup.
Come on. We're going to be counting the Super Cup in August, people. Come on. We could even extend it. We could even get to 5. Come on. Like,
well, all in all,
have we got what is it? Is this a salty Arsenal fan in the comments, or is it a Tottenham fan?
We'll get into it in a sec. But that was and by the way, don't even know, on the way to the stadium we bumped into Culture Cams and what's his partner called? Lias. Yeah, we bumped into them. And so they were having jokes with expressions. And I went into him. I don't know. I was just a bit drunk, and I went up to him. I was like, "You are gonna get slapped up today." I was literally going in on him, saying, "You guys, you don't know what you're in for today. You're gonna get cooked. You're gonna get cooked." So he started recording me. So he started recording me basically in his mind with the biggest smile on his face, thinking, "I'm gonna meme the fuck out of you after this game." Can't see no footage on the internet today.
And also, I was telling him as well. I was like, "Are you gonna win?" And he was saying, "Yeah." I said, "You don't believe it. I see it in your eyes. You don't believe what you're saying." It was the most unconfident, like saying he was gonna win. You couldn't say it with chest. He didn't believe it. I think, look, I think we believed it. I think all the Spurs fans just believed. There was a big sense of belief that was going to happen for us yesterday, and we manifested it. I really believe that.
Well, on to the parade tomorrow. That is your match review for the historic day for Tottenham Hotspur, which was unbelievable. Let's get into a couple of super chats before we move on. Greek Hotspur says, "Proud of our Greek Australian manager, Ange in." Big up to you, Greek Hotspur.
And you can't be underestimated as well, just in terms of his journey as a manager, the whole thing around him. We saw, obviously, since he's come in, what a big thing it is for all the Aussies and everything that he's like managing in Europe. But like for him to carry on that journey, winning, coming to the Premier League, people doubting him again and coming home with a European trophy in his second attempt at Europe or third attempt.
Yeah, he played Champions League twice, I think, with Celtic now.
Yeah, so like he's come to the Premier League, and he's in his second season, which he said he was going to do. He's won a European trophy.
Book your flights to Budapest, mate. Book your flights to Budapest right now.
And it's unbelievable for him. It's unbelievable for what's called Australia. Him being a Greek Australian, his heritage, like people from, it gives people something to aspire to who are from these places. Yeah,
100%. SL Shamari says, "COYS, one thing I'd say, Rishi was phenomenal. I didn't see him get the praise he deserved. That one was for Grandad. Rest in peace to the legend. Come on, you Spurs." 100%. He was definitely looking down on that pitch yesterday, for sure. I have no doubt about that. But thank you for the super chat. And in terms of Rich,
mentioned that as well. So many people in the fan parks, and
it's true.
I've seen in the comments as well, like been saying about Ground Park, and 100%.
But in terms of Richie being phenomenal and not getting the praise that he deserves, I completely agree with that. I mean, I don't think there was a player on the pitch for Spurs that didn't, give their busted their lungs and guts for the team yesterday. Everyone played their part, in my
He
opinion.
ran his socks off, and I think he went down with cramp, and that's when Son came on. But he absolutely ran his socks off. If you actually look at his heat map, you can see he actually does so much running in his own.
I've seen it,
in his own half. Like he really did a good job for the team. So fair play to Andrew starting him again as well, left wing.
Yeah. Jerome with the super chat says 17 years of pain, heartbreak, and embarrassment that the club has brought. Now, after 17 years, 17th in the league, we call ourselves European champions before Arsenal could call themselves that.
Unbelievable.
And not only that, for the third time.
For the third time. Where are your European trophies, Arsenal? Where are they?
We'll win some for you, Arsenal. Don't you worry. We're doing North London the service. That's what. If you want European competition, if you want European glory in North London, you know where to go.
They said I saw a tweet that said after Spurs' third major European trophy, that makes it the third European trophy that's been won in North London.
Exactly. Yeah. Malware says we accomplished something truly remarkable, boys. We've shifted the narrative. We're no longer considered Spursy. It's amusing to see Arsenal fans attempt to diminish this year's European success. And absolutely, like, if anyone but Tottenham had won this trophy, you wouldn't hear any of this going on. If Man U had won it, you wouldn't be hearing it.
No. And also you'd also be hearing about how such a unbelievable tactics and how they were so disciplined and what like Roy of the Rovers performance, because it's Tottenham. It's like, the opposition were rubbish. This excuse for why they're trying to diminish it. But this is an incredible achievement. No one can take it away from us.
And they're all going, oh yeah, but you played the worst Manchester United side that we've ever seen. But like, I guarantee you, if we were in Crystal Palace's position, right, and we'd won the FA Cup, right, and we played this Man City team in the final, it'd be like, but it was the worst Man City team you've ever seen.
Wait a minute, Ben. Who knocked Arsenal out of the FA Cup?
Who did knock out?
Who was it? Can you remind me?
I don't even remember who knocked Arsenal out of the FA Cup.
On penalties.
Someone will hit you. Remind me. Was it Palace?
No. It was the team we played yesterday.
Yesterday? Bilbao? I mean, Manchester United. Yeah, sorry, Man United. Yeah.
So easy, right? So easy.
Yeah. These Arsenal fans, man.
10 Men United as well. 10 Men United.
Shameless. That's how much I care about Arsenal. I didn't even remember who knocked them out of the FA Cup. Sin says 2 league titles, 2 UEFA Europa League of 60s, 2 trophies in the last 30 years, 1 Carabao, and one of the worst Europa Leagues of all time. Calm down, lads. Don't talk about history.
You don't like talking about history when it comes to Europe. I get it. When it comes to European trophies, you don't want to talk about history. All the other history is valid, but European trophies, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, first of all, get your facts right, because the 2 UEFA Cups that we won weren't even in the 60s. So get your facts right before you start talking anyway. And Arsenal, I hear a narrative from Arsenal fans being like, but we win trophies. Trophies is what we do. Where's the trophies been in the last 5 years? You're supposed to be a big club. Look at all these clubs now that have won trophies more recently than Arsenal. You're talking about West Ham have more recent European pedigree than Arsenal right now. Crystal Palace, Newcastle, and then all the big ones: Spurs, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Manchester United. Literally half the Premier League have won a trophy more recently than Arsenal. Literally,
exactly. Get in line, mate. Get in line. And just because don't get me wrong, Arsenal are a good team. I know that they're second in the league or whatever.
Nearly men.
Nearly
men. That's all they are.
That's it. If you don't win anything, then it doesn't mean anything until you turn that where you are into success, because you can't guarantee you're going to stay in. Football is cyclical. It goes in cycles, and you'll be at the top now. And next season is going to be different. Already this season, look how many points you got. A lot less than you already gotten. I know you've had circumstances, but still, that's the facts. And you can be on your high horse all you want. And I think Spurs fans maybe suffer it, because we were definitely on our high horse under Pochettino, like how good we are, but we didn't take advantage of it. We never won anything. And at the end, that era came and went, and we had nothing to show for it. And all we remember it as is an era we were a good team, and that was it. And no one else remembers it. We remember it. but that's it. So if you've got nothing to show for it, then you've got nothing to shout about.
The thing is with Arsenal, right? You can't always keep saying, "Oh, next year we'll do it. Next year we'll do it." You got to strike while the iron's hot.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because you never know what's going to happen next year. You never know what other teams are going to do next year.
There are
So you
no
got
guarantees in
once
football.
you're on once you're on top, you got to strike in that current moment, because that's what we were like under Poch, right? We were all like, oh, all right, we didn't do it this year, but next year we're going to get it. Next year we're going to get it, and that next year never came.
And then, but before you know it, that year was gone. Before you know it.
Yeah. And this is what's going to happen to this Arteta Arsenal team.
Mm-hmm.
Malware with the last super chat says, "Let's get the Super Cup now, boys. Let's eat." In Decky's voice.
Come on.
And Essa Al Shamari, there's another one here that says, "It's a 6-year rebuild, Ben. Relax."
Come on. What phase is Ange in? What phase is Ange in? Come on, people.